You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. When we first got into practice today, the defense was outside. The offense was still inside. It was a lot of really just like team pursuit, just sort of warming up. When the offense came out, the quarterbacks were working on a drill where they move in a pocket, they lay dummies on the ground, and they had to sort of step over the dummies, up, forward, all keeping their eye downfield, and then throw to a target. So it's intended, and there's a coach hitting them with a pad. The intention is to try to get them to remain focused on their target with whatever might be at their feet or behind them. I continue to just be so impressed by Walker Howard. I mean, throwing the football, he is so good, y'all. Like he I know it's not his time yet, but it's going to come, and he's going to be so good. The wide receivers are working on blocking. The running backs are working on going into motion and working on different routes. Jack Besh did return and participated fully today. Landon Ibieta, the freshman, remains out among the wide receivers. He's not been present. After individuals, they went to a team period, and this is when we get to see the offense, the full offense, and it's more of a thud against the defense. They don't tackle to the ground. The offensive line was the same, as we've seen, left to right. Campbell, Shorts, Dellinger at center. It was Miles Frazier at right guard, and then Anthony Bradford at right tackle. We saw Cole Taylor take the first team reps at tight end, and Keyshawn Boutte and Jeray Jenkins were your first wide receivers. And we seem to have a little bit of a shuffle at running back, which we'll get to. Noah Cain continues to impress, and Armani Goodwin seems like he has stepped up to be number 2 behind Cain, which has bumped John Emery down. The second offensive line remained the same as well. Brian Kelly did tell us after practice, though, that Marcus Dumerville, Cam Wire, because I asked the question specifically. Actually, you can play it, Muse, if you want. I asked him if they've settled on their first team offensive line, because we've seen the same 5 guys every practice availability we've had. So I said, look, are these your starters? Here was his answer.
No. There's still opportunities. Cam Wire is still in the picture. Dumerville is just getting back with an ankle. Those 2 guys are still competing. And then, Turner is still in competition. So I'd say those 3 guys in particular are still vying for an opportunity. We'll make some Saturday, we'll move that group around a little bit. We're going to move Bradford inside. We'll kick Cam Wire out to tackle. So there's still some moving around on that offensive line to see what the best 5 guys are. But, by and large, it's the guys that I just mentioned. Those are your 8 right now. Emery probably 9 at this point. That's probably, what we're looking at this point.
So when they went, so that was the offensive line. So then when they went against the defense in the team period, again, this is not a scrimmage, it's kind of a thud. They don't tackle to the ground. It's kind of controlled. Certain, portions of the field. Maybe they work on third down specifically or something like that, or short yardage. Nussmeier went first with the quarterbacks, went first with the first offensive line, or the first unit, I should say, and that portion kind of struggled. He did fumble a snap. He missed a wide receiver out in the flat to the right side to Kyron Lacey. Nussmeier had a very good day in the scrimmage portion, which I'll get to, but he struggled in this portion. And then with the ones, and then Howard went with the 2s. Then when the 1s went back out again, Jaden Daniels went out. When with the 2s, the biggest play with the 2s was Josh Williams. There was a wide receiver sort of sweep with we called it a Z screen, where the wide receiver came in motion, and they just sort of like tip the ball forward to the wide receiver as he comes in motion. So he's running around right end, and the lead blocker was 27, Josh Williams, and he pancaked Sage Ryan. They were physical out there today. I think it's also safe to say their base defense is going to be a nickel with Brooks, Greg Brooks as your nickel. So we know your line is going to be B.J. Ojolari, Mason Smith, Jaqueline Roy, and Ali Gay. Your starting corners, Jark Bernard-Converse is going to be one of them. Today, Mekhi Gardner ran out there first as the short side cornerback. As I mentioned, Brooks is sort of that nickel safety playing in the box, and then your deep safeties are Jay Ward and Major Burns. They continue to be the first teamers there. So I'm pretty confident saying that's settled. when they went to, or at least for now, when they went to short yardage and brought another linebacker on the field. West Weeks was the linebacker that came in. Weeks and Penn both sort of rotated in right there. So I think they still got a lot of depth there at linebacker, but when they're in their base defense, it's pretty obvious that their base defense is a base nickel with Greg Brooks as the nickel back and with Mike Jones and Greg Penn as your linebackers in the middle. When Daniels went with the ones, we saw it really his running ability there because, as I mentioned, they struggled with the snap. There was a low snap where he rolled right and beat B.J. Ojolari to the sideline. Just really good running ability like we've talked about a lot. After that, they went back to the individual periods, and this was quarterbacks throwing to wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, and they were just going rapid fire where Mike Denbrock would call out a route. The receiver had to run it, quarterback had to throw it, and they would rotate just freely. No defensive backs at this point. And again, Walker Howard was the one throwing the football that just stands out. He's so it's hard. I know like you're not seeing it, and I'm sure there's, you could probably find video of things like this, but it's just when you watch Walker Howard throw the football, it just looks different. He's just such an arm talent. I don't know that we're going to get to see him play this year, and that's okay. Like I said, his time's going to come, but throwing the football, he's just so impressive. And then they went to wide receiver and DB drills, and this is where the day started to turn to the offense. You'd have a quarterback throw, so it was just the quarterback, wide receiver, and a defensive back on the field. And I charted the scholarship players. All the walk-ons, everybody gets routes and gets opportunities, but I only really charted when the starters were out there. And as far as I charted, I believe there was only 2 times where the defensive back got the win. And look, we spent some time yesterday on the show talking about this defensive back group, and it wasn't like they were getting roasted. I mean, you're just talking about receivers that were making plays. Cole Taylor beat Major Burns. Kayshon Boutte, beautiful ball from Jaden Daniels deep down the right sideline for a touchdown, beat Greg Brooks, and that wasn't even close. Kayshon Boutte, like, you can just tell, it's so unfair watching Kayshon Boutte right now. Every rep he takes, there's just nobody out there that can cover him. Jure Jenkins beat Mekhi Garner. No, forgive me. That was one where Garner beat Jenkins. And it was interesting, too, because when the defense came back over, you could hear Garner coming from the defensive side going, Jure, here I come. Like, you could tell Garner's got that, like, cornerback trash talk swag. Like, he was trying to get into his head, knowing, like, here I come. And he backed it up. Garner got the pass breakup there. 88, I don't know who number 88 is. It's one of the walk-on receivers. He is Evan Francione. Evan Francione beat Jay Ward, actually. Beat him on a double move and beat him badly, which is a little concerning because Jay Ward's one of your starting safeties. And then Brian Thomas scored a deep touchdown over one of the defensive backs. It was I just charted the number. It was 27. It was LaTerrence Welsh, the freshman. So Brian Thomas beat LaTerrence Welsh deep. Then they came, that was about midfield. Then they came to the 10-yard line. So it was basically goal-to-go situations, running pass routes around the goal line. And the offense, the scholarship guys went 7-0. Malik Neighbors beat Colby Richardson. Mason Taylor beat Major Burns, and it elicited a lot of oohs. This is the play actually right there that Paul just pulled up if you're watching it. He started out, came back inside, and just absolutely dusted. I mean, left him in his tracks. It was impressive watching Mason Taylor today. Kayshon Boutte, old habits die hard, beat, I don't know who number 12 is. Number 12 is Tavion Falk. No, it was Derek Davis, excuse me. Tavion Falk's backup quarterback. It was Derek Davis. I don't know why Derek Davis was trying to guard Kayshon Boutte. That was just unfair. Jure Jenkins, tight coverage against Mekhi Garner, but got him in the back of the end zone and held on to the ball. It was a beautiful catch by Jure. Cole Taylor tipped a touchdown to himself against Jay Ward. Francione beat Joe Fouché, and then Brian Thomas. This was the best play of the day in this drill. Brian Thomas against Jark Bernard-Converse, and like in the front of the left pylon. Jark Bernard-Converse got his arm inside of, how you sometimes see it where a defensive back will get his arm inside of the receiver's hands. Bernard-Converse had tight coverage, got his hands inside, and Brian Thomas still held on to the football. If you remember last week, Brian Kelly talked about how Brian Thomas, one of the strongest guys on the team, he showed it there. It was massively, massively impressive. It was such a good day for the receivers. Breaking news, the receivers are really good. Punt return, Malik Neighbors, Seven Banks, Sage Ryan, 33 and 25 were also back there. Quarterbacks are working on some back of the end line, back line of the end zone throws. I posted some video of that. Trying to see if there's any. I did watch a full period of the place kickers, and 34, who is a redshirt freshman. Forgive me, y'all. Like, some of these guys were still learning names. Damian Ramos. Damian Ramos, who's a redshirt freshman out of the Baltimore area, is very, very clearly right now the best place kicker they have. And he did kick during the scrimmage portion as well. Brian Kelly clarified that they have not settled on anyone there, but feels like they're getting close. Ramos right now has the lead. Your long snapper is number 44. That's Slade Roy. That's the transfer. And your holder, it's interesting, Jay Bramblett, the punter, is also the holder. And keep in mind, I mentioned Ramos. He's a right-footed kicker. Dybert and Mata are both lefties. So Bramblett's got a hold for both lefties and righties. He's got a tough job, and also to handle the punting duties as well. They went 7-on-7s. Jay Ward had a nice pass breakup during 7-on-7s. Daniels went first among the quarterbacks during 7-on-7s when they went into the red zone. Kyron Lacey had a really nice touchdown grab over Colby Richardson. Malik Neighbors had a leaping touchdown in the back of the end zone over Jay Ward. It was a day where the receivers and the offense really had a day against the secondary. These receivers are going to be really talented. If the quarterbacks have time to throw, you can just tell they're going to have some advantages there. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.